and maintain temperature on those tanks to prevent them from rupturing. But because of the toxicity of ammonia, and we felt compelled that we evacuate the surrounding area and to protect certainly our constituency. We're asking the general public, obviously, to adhere to the state of emergency, in particular vehicular traffic, to avoid those areas that are being blockaded at this stage, and also both our hospitals are on code orange, just basically on standby in case there's a requirement. I don't know, to my team, if there's anything else that we'd like to add as well.
Can you sit down?
Sure.
Doug Petrie, Fire Chief, Town of Tecumseh. At this time, I've just received an update. We've got most of the fire knocked down. We're looking for hot spots. We will not put a crew into the buildings till we verify that it is safe. A huge possibility of collapse zones. No life is in danger inside the building, so we will stay outside until it is deemed safe. There was a slight ammonia smell in the neighborhood. That smell has come from the existing lines. We have back pressured all the ammonia to the holding tanks. There are 2 tanks on site, possibly 3,000 to 5,000 pounds of ammonia. We have 2 charge lines cooling those tanks. I'm quite confident now that that is not a danger anymore at this time. We still have the mandatory evacuation in place for now till we deem it's no longer required. There's no, once you call it off and have to send people, it's not good. So it's in place, people are adhering to it. We're going to leave it in there till we deem they can return to their home. We have 3 different fire departments, Windsor, Lakeshore assisting us. We have LaSalle on standby at our Station 2. We are now turning command of the scene over to Chief Kistner from Kingsville to give my deputy chief a rest on scene. It's very taxing, so he will take command on the scene for a while. We've notified EMO, Emergency Management Ontario. They're here just for an advisory capacity, make sure we are doing things the right way. I have notified the Ministry of Environment. They're on scene. They're monitoring water runoff. They're monitoring air quality. I have Windsor's hazmat team specialists who have 7 different locations they're monitoring air quality. Everything that we needed to do to preserve the scene and make sure our people are safe, which is the most important, and community is being done.
You had tweeted out that there was a small ammonia leak. Can you expand on that?
The small ammonia leak was an existing line that was in the plant. Like I say, that line was disconnected from the main feed, which are those tanks. So you will get a small amount. Most of it usually vents off with the water. So that's what we're looking at right now.
So what is the danger right now?
The danger right now is possibly more to my firefighters, because now we have to deal with collapsed walls or walls that could collapse. The air quality is more now, it's just smoke. Which smoke could be irritants for people with asthma and everything. So we are advising them to, if need to go to the hospital and be checked. The parks have been closed. The town swimming pool has been closed, so everything that needed to be done is being done for the public.
How close are these tanks to the fire itself, the ammonia tanks?
I would say at one time they were 100 feet away.
Are you concerned about their location in regards to the fire?
At this time, no. My deputy just gave me an update, as well as the chief from Lakeshore was on scene who went up on his 100-foot ladder. The fire is contained. It's knocked down. There's no longer a threat to those tanks. But while you're doing overhaul, you never know. So we will keep everything in place, which is evacuation. The high alert on the fireground scene is still in place. I get updates within every 10 minutes.
Are you finding residents have evacuated the area, or are they still disobeying?
I'm not out there. I find you will find people will evacuate. You will find people who will lock it in their doors and shut their air off. And you'll find residents that'll go and watch. It's human nature. We have had the OPP go out several times to try and clear the sidewalks. People don't realize what is burning, what is venting off. It may not affect you while you're standing there, but it's later on when you go home, you start having difficulty breathing. And the chief, the acting chief of EMS can speak to that if you have any questions on to do with medical or how and I would like him to let you know what he did for learning, and you can speak to that as soon as I'm done.
How much ammonia is at the plant again? You said 3,000 to 5,000?
Pounds, they measure it in pounds, so that's
It's
what,
2 tanks.
2 tanks, so that's the total of the 2 tanks.
So it's 6 to
That's in
10,000.
liquid- that's
No.
liquid form.
No, it's total.
Total, that,
Total.
yeah.
That's liquid form, you can
Liquid.
imagine when it, that's under pressure.
Yeah, so how many times it expands after that that's when you have a concern. Go ahead.
Well, how can ammonia affect you?
I will ask the chief of the EMS to speak to that. Do you want me to step?
Yes.
Before we do that, what's the next step for you guys?
The next step for us is to knock down the hot spots. And the only problem with that is to get at those, you have to go in. I will not send my crew in. There's no danger for loss of life, so I won't risk a little to gain a lot.
So that's
I
just
won't,
gonna-
sorry, I won't risk a lot to gain a little. So what we will do is, we'll continue to pour water on it. When it's deemed, the OFM will come down, when it's deemed safe for us to go in, and some of that may be to bring heavy excavation equipment, knock the walls down, move debris away, and that's what we'll do. That's what we'll proceed
Any
with that.
estimation of when you'll be able to do all of that, go in and do all that?
I don't see that happening before tonight or tomorrow morning.
The OFM's been called in?
OFM has been called in, I've been in contact. They are going to call me at noon. If there would have been a loss of life, they would have been down immediately. So they're monitoring what's going on, what we're doing, and they'll come down.
My understanding, the alarms went off around 2 o'clock this morning. Was there anyone in the plant at that time, or was it?
We believe there were people working in the plant. Now, the only question is, there could have possibly been people working in the plant, but not in that area. It's a big warehouse. You know, at 2 a.m., they may have been at the other end by the freezer area. We haven't spoken to anyone yet, so I wouldn't want to speculate on that.
You mentioned that at one point the ammonia tanks were within 100 feet of flames, is that right?
100 to 150 feet of the roof.
Of
Now,
the
they're
roof.
on the ground and the tank's on the roof. I mean, sorry, the tank's on the ground, and we were talking about the actual roof fire.
Okay.
It was moving towards it. We set up 3 ladder trucks and 2 one on each side, and 1 pushing the flames back. And we also had 2 blitz fire, and those guns produce well over 1,000 gallons per minute. So we had 2 of those cooling those tanks in case we had to do something with it.
How much of a risk was that?
Always a risk. Anytime you deal with chemicals or something like that, there's always a risk, because you always have to look at the worst case. What's the worst thing that could happen, and that's how you make your decisions.
What was the worst thing that could have happened?
Worst case, that things that happened, those tanks would have blown. If I had firefighters or EMS or OPP without being on air, it would not have been good for them.
I know this may sound basic, but how bad is this fire, in your perspective?
This fire we had a fire in '73, I believe. It's as bad as that. Their whole warehouse facility is gone. If we stop the fire in time, it's possible they could still continue the freezing operation. It depends on the electrical. Without their freezing operation, nothing can be shipped. And they are in their busiest season now. I do believe there's someone coming down to review. The mayor spoke on that. This is the worst time it could have happened for that business.
Dollar value, is there any dollar value at this point?
Over $500,000, we have to call the OFM. It's well beyond that. Probably in the millions. I just don't know how much. It'll take a while for us to figure it out, but it's a large amount.
We will be having a press conference later this afternoon with the president, Daniel Zelfor of Bonduelle. He's on his way here. He should be landing in Windsor probably around 11 o'clock. We will be briefing him prior, and then he will be briefing us in terms of the plan itself.
Any idea when you'll be able to sit down with him and us this afternoon?
Today.
No word on the time yet, though.
Oh, in terms of the future?
Well, no. What time today you're going to have another media conference?
We will certainly contact the media and give you ample time in that, but I would say probably mid-afternoon
Okay.
as a time frame. Also, Minister Leo, Minister of Agriculture and Rural Affairs, was in contact with myself approximately an hour ago, offering all the assistance from the province in terms of what we need. But things are well in control with our local personnel. But also in terms of an opportunity to speak with Bonduelle, the ministry, and they're willing to put some effort in terms of the future.
Chief, this is a Tecumseh Fire Department that is made up of volunteers. I take it they are prepared for something like this, but this goes beyond what they normally have to deal with, obviously.
This goes beyond what a full-time fire department would deal with. And our firefighters are trained as well as, the only difference is how they respond. At that time of night, I probably had a full complement, which is 38 firefighters respond. At one time I clocked, we had 60 people on just firefighters. We had 3 ladders from Windsor, an engine. We had an aerial from Lakeshore. So this is beyond what the basic of any fire department would handle. That's why we have the mutual aid program in effect. We utilize it every chance we get. Right now I also have Lake LaSalle standing calls at my Station 2 area. With my staff and vehicles there, we have to set up something to that end. We can't just leave that unprotected.
Because I take it at some point you're going to have to relieve these firefighters and have a bit of rotating to give them rest, or...
Right now it's being put into process. The county coordinator was his chief, Bruce Montone from Windsor. He is, through his deputy, they're gathering firefighters from different municipalities. I have 15 firefighters from area, as long as 5 officers. Again, I said I had Chief Kistner who will take command of the scene, and then my crew they won't stay on scene. They'll have to leave site and go home and rest for a while. You have to get them away from that environment so they can decompress somewhat. Now, there's going to be some questions, and I really like the acting chief, Bruce Crowder, to speak on what he has done for the public, because I like the public always to know that we have taken in consideration what could happen and what they need to do to keep themselves safe. So at this time, I'll hand it over to him.
Please start with your name, please.
Yep. Good morning, Bruce Croner, Acting Chief, S613 EMS.
Can you spell your first, please?
Last name is Krauter. Just to back up, I was informed around 3:30 this morning of a major fire. Arrived on scene, Tecumseh Fire on scene, along with Lakeshore and Windsor, working on the fire. EMS on scene, we had 2 ambulances plus a district chief, and that was basically providing rehabilitation to the firefighters that were responding. There's no injuries. There was no injuries reported. There has been no injuries on the site since we've been on scene. I am unaware of any injuries in the surrounding areas, and the evacuation is a precautionary just for the ammonia smell. I have to congratulate the fire services for what they've done in containing the fire away from the ammonia tanks. The question was asked of what can ammonia do at a large scale. It will cause respiratory arrest. In the small little leakages from the hoses or the lines to the tanks, you could smell it. It would cause a little bit of irritation, a little bit of burning and smell. And just to close your windows, turn off your ventilation, or adhere to the evacuation and leave the zone until we get the air quality back to normal.
How much ammonia in the air would be necessary for there to be, negative health effects?
To put it in context, say one of the farmer tanks going down the road, those sizes, if it was to breach, that would cause respiratory arrest. So large amounts of ammonia do cause. This was just a line or residual atmospheric release that just caused the burning sensation. That's why we asked everybody to get back. We evacuated ourselves, the responders, from the hot zone. We expanded it back to Tecumseh east of the location, and that's where we put our command center to get everybody upwind, so our responders were safe.
What
Any harm
symptoms
from the
should
smoke?
people? Yeah, what symptoms should people, watch for this afternoon and tonight and tomorrow?
Heavy smell in their nose, burning sensation in the throat is somewhat normal. If they get any severe shortness of breath, where they can't breathe, can't catch their breath, they should call 911 or go to their local emergency department as soon as possible. What we've done as well, Ministry of Health was contacted, as well as the county senior management team, local hospitals, local long-term care facilities, and neighboring municipalities of the fire this morning at around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and continual updates hourly. We have been offered assistance from the province of Ontario, Ministry of Health, as well as neighboring Chad Kent. Emergency services offering assistance. At this time, we don't need it. We're just any rehab or protection services for the fire departments and OPP and advisement tablet.
Any dangers with the smoke?
We're doing air quality. It's normal fire smoke, but there's no toxic or chemicals that we know of right now.
A lot of people don't know what to do in a state of emergency, and I have people asking me, and unfortunately I don't know what to do in a state of emergency. What do you do when you hear you're in a state of emergency? Mayor?
Well,
Have a seat, Gary.
well, obviously, number one, the media plays a major role here in getting the word out. It's critically important. Basically, we want them to stay calm and heed to the advice that our EMS personnel and certainly the message. And basically, you know, it started this morning, basically close your windows, shut your door, shut your air conditioning system down. That's basically protect your respiratory system. When the emergency was declared, an evacuation is basically do it as orderly as possible and go to your closest shelter. You should never question. You should react to certainly the requests. A lot of these measures are in place basically to be ahead of any issue that could harm health or certainly life. We want to be on the side of caution. It's extremely important. You heard the chief very clearly this morning in terms of, I think the imminent danger is maybe now behind us. But having said that, we still, until we get the actual all clear, we would certainly ask all of our residents to continue to adhere to the evacuation.
Has anybody taken advantage of the Tecumseh Arena? Do you know
This-
if anybody's been there or no?
Dave, we know.
I would have to defer that, but I believe that they have.
Some people are taking advantage
Yes.
of it, just going there and, okay. Any idea how long the state of emergency is going to be in place?
Until we get the all clear from the crews on site, and again, you know, the vivacity of this fire basically as the fire department moves from one area to another, there's hot spots that could reignite and so forth. But I do feel a sense of relief that they seem to have a handle now in terms of the progression of the fire. But having said that, I would say that within the next couple or 3 hours, we will have a better handle. But they'll have crews on site till tomorrow.
Is the Bonduelle plant, is that equipped with sprinkler systems inside or no? I would take it not. Because I would assume with plants like that, they would have something.
I mean, I don't know what in terms of the suppression that is in there, but I would imagine they do.
We had just done a tour.
So just
Okay.
walk, if you
We
record
have,
live.
we have just done a tour. What we do is we do pre-planning with our fire halls. We actually tour facilities in our area, and it is partial sprinkler. And a lot of times you're looking at older facilities. At one point you didn't have to have it, and as they renovate or add on, they do add it. So I would probably say they were probably partially sprinkled. Which part, I don't know.
Mayor, we can just go over what exactly does it mean when you call a state of emergency? What happens?
Well, I think what it triggers as well is the additional resources that we might need. First, you know, the additional manpower that we need on the ground. Whether it's more police officers, more fire services, and outside jurisdiction aid. It basically now gives us the full value of bringing those resources to bear on the situation. I mean, obviously, a community the size of ours, when you look at the resources that have been expended to date, is very costly. And obviously, for communities like us or others would need help from upper levels of government. The only opportunity we have to be able to address those issues is basically through declaring an emergency. It's not done it's not done lightly. I mean, obviously, this fire started at 10 after 2, and then 8:45 is when we declared, or 9:40, yeah, 8:45. So it certainly to the point where we feel that we need extra resources. Just think, 1,300 residents had to be, evacuated. We need the additional manpower to be able to deal with those issues. So that's why we do have those measures in place. That's why we do exercises, a couple of times a year, so that when situations like this happen, we're certainly well versed in terms of seeing how we can escalate the needs and requirements through obviously the advice of our EMS and our team and certainly our senior administrative team here in our community. When you look at the expanded, our public works departments are out there doing work. Our water department, we're working with the city of Windsor as the water plant itself to make sure that all of the supply of resources are in need. But with that, I'd like to first extend my gratitude and certainly my thanks to all of the support that we've received from the City of Windsor, the Town of Lakeshore, and certainly our OPP, our EMS services throughout the area, and certainly the men and women that from our own community, and they've done a terrific job. And if it is what it is in terms of the production side of the plant has been protected, that is certainly good news, and certainly the president of Bonduelle coming in will certainly be appreciative of that fact that that part of the plant can continue. And so